Check, check, 1 2 1 2. For the people tuned in that's gonna watch this on a playback, you're tuned in with your host, Deshaun, aka Son of a Jones. One half of this platform, Enveonline, where we talk hip hop, sports, current events, and a little politics. To my left,
I'm very adamant Yankees fan.
oh, here we go.
And his
Baseball
partner,
season is
aka
in.
Lazar Johnson. That's right. Yankees, baby. Yankees.
Did the season just start? Because I'm not into baseball like that.
Yeah, yes, it did, sir.
Okay, how's the Yankees doing so
we're,
far?
we're in second place behind Toronto, I think. I'm pretty sure. Well, we got that win yesterday, so we should be in first. Let me look real quick. Yeah, but I know we're in second.
Okay, while you look at that, I'm gonna lay the table for us to get started.
Here you go. Okay.
So we're gonna start out with our hip hop segment because you know we like to talk music.
Mm-hmm.
So for the people that's in the hip hop, yeah,
We're
okay,
in first.
okay,
We're
the
in
Yankees
first.
is in
Yep,
first.
we're ahead with that win.
Thank God
yesterday
the
for
Yankees are in first because
Yes.
if the Toronto Blue Jays were in first,
Yes.
that would be a win for them after that Drake L. So
Yes.
I'm glad that the Yankees kept
Yes.
the W at
That's
home.
right. Thank God for our relief pitcher. But that's another story for another day.
Well, let's jump into our hip hop because you know we like to talk music on this podcast, which is a weird concept, like
Yeah.
talking music on a hip hop podcast.
Nah,
You know, that's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
whatever. So, for all my hip hop heads out there, I know you guys had to see it. Mass Appeal and Nas released a teaser on the Mass Appeal social media, kind of hinting at a cryptic message alluding to 7 albums being released.
Mm,
Did you get a chance to see that?
I did, sir. I did.
So they had some titles. What was it? Nas. Give me one quick second.
you want me to pull it up? I got it up. You want
Yeah.
So they got like releases coming soon from Slick Rick,
Mm-hmm.
Raekwon, Ghostface Killer, Mobb Deep, Big L, Nas and DJ Premier Project, and De La Soul. That's like a
It's a dream
team.
in heaven
Dream team.
for us old heads.
Dream team, yes.
So first and foremost, for us over the age of 35, we're in heaven right now with hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I've been saying in all my prior interviews,
Mm-hmm.
our upperclassmen, our veterans are leading the way. They're leading the charge with the music.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, Rhapsody, Pete
Right.
Rock.
Mhm.
Before that, the year before, homeboy from the South. I'm drawing a blank on his name, the one that won the Grammys. Killer Mike. Yeah,
Mhm.
Killer Mike.
Mhm.
Nas did his thing, released the albums with Hit Boy. So the upperclassmen are doing their thing. So when I see this list, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it's on for authentic hip hop, man.
Right.
Before I get into kind of the topics or whatever, what is your viewpoint on Mass Appeal doing this? Because I never saw this kind of done before.
that's it brings me back to the times when record labels were really doing what they were supposed to do with hip hop. It just, like you see a classic upcoming list of albums that you are anticipating. That doesn't happen anymore. So it's kind of going back to what it was. And I think somehow, don't know how, somehow we got away from that. It became dropping videos, download my mixtape, which even when you heard mixtapes, even back then, if you don't even have to go far back to my era, but even going back to the mixtape era, you used to look forward to, you used to be like, yo, French Montana's mixtape's coming out. Jadakiss is coming out with a mixtape. Green Lantern would do something with Styles P. Dipset would do mixtapes. It kind of, after that mixtape era, we kind of got away from albums releasing and seeing the anticipation of it.
Because we got into this whole streaming.
And I think it's a great thing and a great idea of what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like where it's going. And that Nas needs to keep doing that. That's I can't tell you how influential that's going to be.
I'm glad you said that because I want to piggyback off that point. So you brought up your era where you saw iconic record labels releasing some dope albums that we saw coming down the pike. So now, since we're kind of in the streaming era and people have kind of not been paying attention to labels, now we got Mass Appeal reemerging. Obviously with the legendary Nas, who in my opinion is, you can put either at 1 or 2 within that top 5 list. So from a business angle, what does this do for Mass Appeal, the record label, if these albums come out in this sequential order and they knock it out the park? What does it do for Mass Appeal?
It changes the game. It gives, because Mass Appeal is owned by Nas.
Yeah.
So it shows you like, look, if you get behind the projects, you do it yourself, you figure it out, which what we should have been doing, but we weren't aware of when hip hop first started. Let me not get into that story. It puts us at another level.
Mm-hmm.
It's one level up later. But let me put it to you this way. It's the best way I can explain it, especially for people of color. Like my grandfather was what he was trying to achieve and what he did to move his family up here. He was making a better way for kids that he wasn't even meeting yet. So I think for hip hop, for Nas and them showing this way and doing what they're doing, this is gonna be betterment for the future of hip hop artists and kids that look like us, that come from that community and that culture. It'll show them the blueprint, and it'll change for kids that ain't even here yet. That'll say, go back and look and say, yo, this is how it needs to be done. You know what I'm saying?
I have a caveat for Mass Appeal. So here's my caveat for Mass Appeal. My message I'm throwing out to you guys. As somebody who has been pushing from the media side, from the fan side, from the consumer side of buying physical albums, I've been ringing the alarm saying, yo, that streaming ish, yo, that's last year. We back to buying the art. We back to buying CDs, cassettes, and vinyl culture is very big. So for these albums, for a Nas and DJ Premier album, I want to see a vinyl drop. For a Big L posthumous album, especially if you have some unreleased Big L songs. I want to see a creative vinyl drop for Big L, and so forth with the other artists. I want to see a vinyl and cassette tape for Ghostface. Like, we don't need to stream that ish.
Right.
If y'all gonna do this, let's do it all the way. Let's take it all the way back to how we were supporting the artists back in their era in the 90s. When Big L came out, back in 95 when he dropped that, or 96?
93?
93?
93, 94, yeah.
Yeah. Cassettes. When Nas
Lifestyle, The Poor and Dangerous.
Yeah, The Poor and Dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, they had 8 Is Enough on there with Herb McGruff, Cameron, and all them. Like, when Nas dropped, cassettes. So when Mass Appeal drops all these projects, my only message as a fan and a consumer, please do not follow the streaming format. Change the game for good. Yo, we gonna drop this Nas and DJ Premier. We putting it in vinyl, cassette, and CD, and so forth and so forth. Y'all do that, man. That's gonna be crazy, man.
Yeah.
What? Since we talked about those names that you just listed, and you're more versed because that was your era. Like, I come from a generation after you as far as listening.
Yeah.
What do you want to see as a fan from the list of names that you name?
If you look at the top 3, I would love to see Slick Rick's album, definitely Ghostface album, and definitely Nas and DJ Premier's project.
Well, outside seeing them, do you have something you want to listen for as far as production, as far as like maybe a guest appearance or even a song?
You know what I would love to see? I don't know if RZA's like who he used to be anymore, and that's not a shot. But when he's not, because I heard I got Sirius XM, and shouts out to Roxy and Shantae. She had because she has her show.
Yeah, we listen to it when we travel.
Yeah, facts. And Mathematics Wu was on there, and he was talking about RZA like doing production, and like it was a long story. But long story short, she asked, she said, "Yo," she said, "When did you know production? When did you want to do production?" She said RZA was kind of burnt out because he was working on Raekwon's album and Jizz's album at the same time. He said him and them went out. I think him and Raekwon and them went out, right? He said they came back to the studio, ice cream was made. So he said, but at the time, RZA, he said he could kind of see RZA on his way going and getting burnt out. But that's another story. Point I'm making is I would love to see the production like go back to that. If you go back and listen to those albums, you know what made them in classics? It was a bunch of hungry producers with artists that was Illmatic. So they put their best foot forward with their beats and did it. And I think Nas gets that. I think Nas sometimes thinks back about Illmatic, where he was at, what he was doing, what he could have did better if a young Nas had the education that an older Nas has now.
This is why I'm so hyped about this potential DJ Premier.
So I think when you look at, Ghostface and all them, they had all the gems. They had RZA. But when RZA's got to come out with a Method Man album, Old DB album, and then after that, like it was consistently coming out. For people that don't know, before Master P, Wu-Tang was kind of doing that. They were coming out like after the second single of an album, the new album was dropping. So once Method Man's second single came out, Old DB's first album was coming. After Old DB's second single was hitting on the Electra, here comes Raekwon's album. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then after Raekwon's like second single, and it was still blazing, here comes GZA's album. And then here comes Ghostface's album. And then you see what I'm saying? So it's kind of, he kind of got burnt out. I would love to see him on Supreme Clientele. But we always know with Ghostface, he's always going to get ill production.
You're going to talk that ish too.
Yeah, everybody's going to listen to Ghostface album. The production, man. And I know it's going to be ill. Slick Rick, I want to see him. His last album, I don't know if people know, it was on Def Jam. Okay. I don't want to go into whole history because I know I don't want to hit people in the head too much with it. But Slick Rick, when he released that last album on Def Jam, that was like almost a 5-mic album. It was a storytelling album. He was making dance joints, story joints, street joints, but Def Jam dropped the ball on that bad. They jumped the ball on that real bad. But that's another story for another day. Now you got Nas. Mm-hmm. And Nas, I'm pretty sure, is going to do what they do. Like, the only thing, man, that's missing, because I know you go back into playing the CDs and everything, they need to go back and just stay with the videos, too. They gotta start doing the videos, man. It don't always have to be on WorldStar. Just do it on your own YouTube. Just do it. Do it on your own site. It don't matter. We'll find it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, because when you got the video to it, just bring back that era. Mm-hmm. Bring back that era, and you'll love it.
You see what Diamond D is doing?
Yeah.
Well, the interviews, he's releasing a whole bunch of videos.
Yeah.
Working.
Which he should. Yeah, facts.
Salute to Diamond D. He's doing his thing, man.
He was another one, too, real quick. I just want to put as a side note. His album was a classic album, but it never like, I don't know, like it just never, well, it was on a small time label. And I know he doesn't really talk about it a lot. I don't know for whatever reason. Stunt Blunts and Hip Hops, I mean, it was on a small time label. So I think they thought, oh, this is Diamond D. We're going to release him from the DITC. They never really got behind it, but that was a classic album. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't have the push. Now, had that Def Jam been behind that, we might have been holding that up as one of the greatest albums of all time. Back in that era. So just to give you an example of how ill Diamond D is.
So more importantly, we talked about the relevancy of, or the culture impact for Massive Pill once this comes out. Mm-hmm. You played it perfectly of what they can do, what we would like to see. So I'm going to touch on what I would like to see, then I'm going to go into this conversation that was floating around. Because it got to be touched on when they talked about the top 5 MCs. Mm-hmm. I'm not letting that shit go, man.
Yeah.
But what I would like to see is, so it's going to be unique because they're all veterans. And as me and you talked about how they're lapping the younger generation, at least with lyricism and skill. I want to see how creative they can get with this Big L album. I'm pretty sure there's some unreleased tracks that we never heard of.
Yeah.
But more importantly, you got Mace out here and Cam. I would love to see if they can sprinkle some Harlem artists on there. Mm-hmm. And it would be so ill because he's always brought up in a conversation, even though he had 1 or 2 projects.
He had I don't know if that other album came out.
Okay.
I think it was just Ebonics.
Yeah.
He just had the Ebonics single, but nothing else came out.
He's always been held in high regards, but he never had enough time to put out multiple projects.
Right.
So as a fan of Big L, since people have him in their top 5, I want to see if he can kill people from the grave. Mm-hmm. If he can, if they release an album with him not being here for 25 years and him outshine all y'all artists, do you know what that's gonna do? Mm-hmm. If people say, yo, they just released that Big L album, they doing something with AI, with videos and voiceovers, and he's out rapping today's artists, and he's been going for 20. It's gonna make some people reflect, like, we need to get back to talent. Right. All that TikTok rap, and we gonna make a song just to dance on TikTok. That shit been going, but with these group of MCs, with these crop of MCs coming out, it's gonna piss some people to shame, at least in my opinion.
Right.
So I want to see it from that angle. I'm obviously excited by Nas and DJ Premier because I think it gives him another chance to submit himself of going for that number 1 spot. Mm-hmm. I know people give it to Jay. Even sometimes I give it to Jay. It's kind of hard. Mm-hmm. But if Nas knocks this out of the park with DJ Premier, I'm sorry. Like, how do you not place Nas at number one if he releases this album and he shines the way he did with Hit Boy?
Right. Wow.
So that's just what I'm thinking about as a fan. And again, Mass Appeal, please release physical copies of all these albums.
Right.
Vinyl, CDs, and cassettes, just from a fan perspective. That's what I just want to see. So the conversation I want to bring up, I think I sent it to you. I sent you the link, but it was a person by the name of Punch.
Yeah.
So they were having a conversation about top 5 New York MCs.
Yeah.
And from everybody's opinion is cool. I'm not saying our opinion is correct and their opinion is wrong, but just want to go over it because now we're talking about Nas releasing more music. So he said from his perspective, Jay-Z at number 1, Jadakiss at 2, and 3 is where he lost everybody. He said number 3 MC is Fabulous.
For top 5?
Top 5.
As far as what again?
New York rappers that are alive that put music out in the 2000s. So he went Nas, Jadakiss, Fabulous, Nicki Minaj, and Cameron.
In 2000?
In the 2000, who is he skipping over?
DMX.
Who else?
50 Cent.
Who else?
Nas. Jadakiss.
Well, he put Jadakiss at 2.
Okay. Nas. Oh my God, the list is long.
Ghostface Killer.
Ghostface. I mean, my God.
So now with Nas,
Fat Joe. Really?
Yeah, I'm not.
Fat Joe had hits, man.
I'm not saying hits. He said lyricists, like bar spitting.
He had some. Fat Joe got lyrics, man. I think y'all.
Fat Joe ain't never been in nobody top 5.
Really?
Who top 5 Fat Joe been in?
Fat Joe ain't an Illmatic cat.
I said who top 5 has Fat Joe been?
All right, I'm gonna leave it alone.
No, this is good content.
No.
Respectfully. Hey, look, I'm the only Puerto Rican.
Joe, don't leave me hanging, Joe. Fat Joe, if you see this clip, please say something.
I'm the only Puerto Rican in the room.
I'm the only one going to bat for you, Joe. Yeah, I know about you, man. Joe's one's envy. I know about the shit is real.
I'm
remix.
The only Puerto Rican in the room.
Okay.
I love Fat Joe. He picked my favorite rapper on Big Pun.
Okay, Big Pun, right.
Puerto Rican flag tatted on the arm. I love what he did for the game. I'm just saying lyrically, I never heard that conversation in a barbershop.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, I get it.
But getting back to the topic, with Punch pitting Fabulous, it threw me for a loop because I wouldn't pit Fabulous over Lloyd Banks.
No.
But
no, go ahead. What you gonna say?
No, that's just it. I'll let you lead.
I think with Fab is that what I respect about Fab. Maybe it's not lyrics wise. He is an ill lyricist. He has witty punchlines. He is an ill lyricist. I think he survived or he stood out even when the South was rocking. Fab was still the man. Fab was still repping New York. Fab still kept us relevant. So he always is going to be up in that top tier echelon because of what he did during that time. Whether it was a mixtape era, whether it was a DVD era, whether it was New York falling off, Fab was always still up there. Always relevant, always video-wise, always image-wise. Fab was there. I don't think he gets the notoriety because if you look at it, and I hate to say it, I'm not saying Clue held him back, but he didn't have a Rockefeller behind him. So, he didn't have a G Unit behind him. Fab kind of did everything on his own, Electric, Atlantic Records. He's never really been on a big major label. Like if he was on Rough Riders, he'd easily be sitting right there at the top. But he's not. Def Jam, yeah. He was with Def Jam, and they put him there. But you got to remember, Fab kind of came. Yo, let me tell you how ill Fab was, though. I will say this: there was a time, and yes, I sound like Doggy, like from ESPN First Take. There was a time when Jadakiss was dropping his album. And that was right around the same time as either Jay, who else? Somebody else. Jadakiss dropped his album. I never forgot it. Everybody was playing Jadakiss' album. And I'm talking about his first album with Knock Yourself Out and all that. Fab was the only one that was shining during that day. Fab came out with his tape, and he was the only one that shined on that. Because everybody else's album sales was hurting. Let's just keep it real. So I don't think Fab gets the notoriety and respect. As far as top 3 lyricists in 2000,
like I said, nobody's right or wrong. I just think there's a consensus.
Yeah.
That when we have these talks amongst us and we bring up top 5 rappers, he might be in people's top 10.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, facts. Yeah.
You know, but for me, if I would give a basketball analogy, I'd be fair and say Fabulous is akin to a Carmelo Anthony.
Right.
Surgical as hell. Put up 60 points in a ball game.
Yeah.
Just didn't have the career people thought he would have.
Right.
Still a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to one of his producers. He works with many, but shout out to one of his producers. I want to say the brother name is Sonaro from Far Rock.
Yeah.
Produced Badia and a lot of other joints. You know, dope MC. I just don't got him in the top 5 over Nas.
Yeah.
Punch. I don't know what you're doing, man. You left Nas off that list and put Cameron in front of him.
Yeah. Cam, you know what? Cam is an ill lyricist too, but Cam reminds me of he's like the Detroit Pistons when they was at their peak. Like they won a title, so it's like they was just good when they won championship. They
so you
won
said
more.
Cameron is 2004 Detroit Pistons?
Yeah, he
got that one title.
He got that one title, and I think he was just content because he just knew he was Illmatic, but he had to try hard. Because that ooey gooey computers putin booty booting that I can't, man. I so cannot. Otherwise than that, go back. We all know if you go back listen to Cameron, whether he was on Monday Night Mixtape with Clue, Children of the Corn, 357, Diplomat mixtapes, Cameron was insane. Like he's just like, my God, this how did this kid go unnoticed? You know what I'm saying? But when he started doing the computers debooting and all that crap, I was like, yo, Cam, you killing me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, I can't. You know what I'm saying? I can't. But it worked. It worked. It just basically was like, he could have went harder on the track. He just chose not to because he knew he was Cameron and he was going to do what he was going to do. He was going to sell what he was going to sell. You know what I'm saying?
So while we're on this topic, since we're kind of debating a top 5 New York list for the 2000 rappers, how would you spin yours?
2000. Definitely Jada is definitely there. Jay-Z's there. Nas is there. Talking about 2000, right? Yeah.
That's a criteria he said.
Yeah. Nas. I said Jada, Nas, Jay. Let's see. That's kind of hard, man. I want to say DMX. 50, definitely. 50 Cent.
Okay, so we got the same top 5.
Yeah.
I might be interchangeable by throwing Ghostface in there.
Facts. Yeah,
so that's the only, I agree with your top 5 and maybe throw Ghostface in there.
Yeah.
But I got the same exact one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that as a fan. Salute the Mass Appeal, salute the Nas. As you said, it's going to give that old school feeling for record labels releasing classic albums, especially having that type of list of 7 albums coming out.
Yeah. They used to do that all the time, man. And I don't know, something went left, but then, a whole new wave came and it was more about mixtapes. And even then with the mixtapes, at least even when it was online, you was anticipating the releases of them. Now, I mean, you don't know. Like sometimes I don't know stuff drop until I'm crossing paths with you and you're like, yo, hey, this joint released, this joint is coming out. I'm like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Yo, my best advice, and my partner can speak to this too, because a lot of people don't know, like they see us on this podcast and they're like, yo, y'all been around this long. Y'all don't understand. We was around. We just weren't being seen. So I'm telling you, when we saw the most people that succeeded was the artists that sat back, treated the album, whether it was a mixtape or an album, and treated a mixtape like an album. They did videos for it. They did promo runs. They did interviews. They did photo shoots. If you do that now, you will be 10 steps ahead of whoever it is. I don't care if it's ludicrous. You'll be a step ahead. You'll be right up there with them. So I think because your fan base wants to see more. That AI crap ain't gonna fly. You know what I mean? Like, this is hip hop, man. It don't matter. Hip hop has never changed. They want to see the whole project, the complete vision. And if you're not going to produce that, you're wasting your time. You know?
Before we get out this hip hop segment, you got anything else you want to talk about?
No. No, not to my knowledge. No.
All right.
I might come back with an audible.
Gotcha. So I'm an audible before we go touch on our current events and politics. Because I love to talk about hip hop. I love to talk about the physical copies, the artwork. So I'm going to shout these people out real quick. What's happening out there? As y'all know, it's Son of a Jones. And I'm always on talking about physical albums. So real quick out there, for my hip hop heads, that want to get back to supporting hip hop the right way, I need to head over to the Press Collective. It's one of the boutique labels that's dropping some dope hip hop content and physical copies of music with some dope unsigned artists. Head over to the Press Collective and enjoy some dope hip hop. Just had to get that out there because this is one of the people out there that's going back to dropping physical music with a lot of underground artists. So I really like to see that because of our age. I'm glad to say I'm an old head. Like I'm not hiding it no more.
Yeah,
I'm unk now.
Yeah,
my hairline is falling off the bone.
Oh man,
so
killing me.
So I like experiencing my hip hop like that. Just like you like to see the music videos.
Yeah.
Yo, when I went back I posted a picture of this and I forgot because I ran out the house because I was gonna bring that Jay-Z album. I brought the Jay-Z what album I just posted? The Black Album.
Okay.
And when I opened the vinyl, because I forgot, like I brought that album back in high school, but when I opened the vinyl, it had all these exclusive pictures with Aaliyah in there and everything. Just some dope ass artwork inside the vinyl.
Right, yeah.
Can't get that shit from streaming, dog.
No, at all.
I'm seeing pictures of him and Dame and Biggs and all that shit back in their heyday.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, this is hip hop. This is art right here, man.
Right.
This gives you appreciation of the culture. So that's why I shouted out cats like the Press Collective, and I'm gonna keep shouting out the Press Collective as long as they keep it hip hop. Yeah, I keep it hip hop over there. Y'all don't do that goofy shit. As long as y'all keep it hip hop, I'm gonna keep supporting y'all, man. All right, man. So let's move on from our hip hop topics.
Okay.
You want to talk about Dave Anderson?
Yeah, we could talk about that.
All right, so I'm going to give you out of context. So we're going into our kind of current events or politics. So my partner sent me a YouTube video from Dave Anderson, who's a commentator. And the context was talking about boycotts. And he discussed the boycott for the Target boycott for our community, which happened after Target rolled back their DEI efforts. So from that video that you sent me, how did you feel about it? And what was your thoughts on it?
First, let me give respect to the content creator, which was I Never Knew TV.
Okay.
Definitely go check them out. Also, check out Dave Anderson, thebusinessbully.com. That's his website. I didn't know about him until I saw I Never Knew TV. And that you need to check that website too. I mean, that YouTube, like videos, like his page, because it's super dope. He has a lot of interesting things on there that we need to be put aware of. And one of them is Dave Anderson. And I know that video you saw, but I know you saw the other videos that was up there from Dave Anderson. So Dave Anderson talked about this gentleman. I think his name was it John Snyder? John,
I believe so.
Yeah, let me go back in there real quick. But the point I'm making is that he basically he was talking about how we got played again. So John Swartz, I'm sorry. So did this gentleman by the name of John Swartz, he was part of the whole boycott thing with Target. This gentleman has raised money in nonprofit
for a nonprofit organization.
And he's raised like thousands of dollars.
Six figures.
And I don't see anything coming from it. But we all got on the front lines and all ran up there and was boycotting. Now, let me say this about this before I even get into this, how I really feel. So DEI, let me tell y'all, for all y'all that don't realize, DEI does not benefit us. If you go look at the statistics, especially for people of color, black males and women, we do not benefit from it at all. So that's why when people say, yo, hey, you know, what you becoming like a Republican or something, it's like, no, I just see the numbers. And I'm not listening to everybody and just believing because whether they're a Democrat or whether they seem like they're part of that National Action Network or whatever, no disrespect, I'm not just gonna believe everything you say. The numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not benefiting from it. So whatever you want to do is roll back from Target and do whatever. What was your ask from that? And mind you, the questions I'm asking, Dave Anderson, I'm going to give him all the credit for this because trust me, this is not just really for me. But my point is, what's your ask? So you hurt Target. What you getting from it? Is there a school coming or something? Is there a black business that I don't know about? I mean, please explain to me. So meanwhile, this dude, John Schwartz, gets all this money or from all this donation, unlike the Black Lives Matter, which I till this day still ain't seen what we got from that. Because there was donations going all around from all peoples of colors and cultures, and I haven't seen no black nothing. So I'm trying to understand, and I think the point that Dave Anderson was making, and I mean I don't know the brother, I never met him, so I'm not speaking for him, but from what I got from it, we keep jumping out the window for all these protests, and the people that's getting the money from this situation don't look like us, and we're not benefiting from it. And it's not getting any schools or businesses or any resources for people of color. I'm so tired of the let's boycott, let's march down the street. That era is done.
Did you see the follow-up that I text you? I'm gonna touch back on the Dave Anderson. I don't want to pivot too much.
No.
This coincides with the last sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So I text you. There was a national April 5th protest. Mm-hmm. So recently, literally like a week and a half ago.
Yeah. 5 days ago. Right, got you.
Literally 5 days ago. April 5th protest. Before the protest happened, before the march, black people in mass said, we're sitting our asses at home. I'm talking about if you went on people Twitter, people Instagram, large content creators on YouTube, on TikTok, they said, nah, we showed our asses up to the polls. We did what we were supposed to do. We're tired of being on the front lines, marching, getting our head beat in, getting thrown in jail, while other people get to march and nothing happens to them. Mm-hmm. So black people en masse sat their asses home. We looked at the protests. Guess what happened? It looked like a picnic out there. Nobody got arrested.
Because nobody looked like us.
Thank you. See, I see you picking up what I'm putting down.
Facts, yeah.
So black people said, oh, there's no dogs being released. There's no tear gas. So, black people said, well, maybe we should have been sitting our asses at home.
Yeah.
If y'all want to do the work, cool. We've been doing the work for hundreds of years as far as civil rights marches. Mm-hmm. And every time we go out there, we get the brunt of the consequences. Yeah. We get hit with the tear gas. We get hit with the rubber bullets in the face. We get the dogs sicked on us and so forth. So I was kind of proud of us for that April 5th situation. Mm-hmm. That coincides with what you said about the marching and so forth. So I'm going to hand it back over to you so you can finish your point.
No, I'm just tired of, we need to protest. I was done with the Black Lives Matter. Like, I was all for it. I believed that Black Lives Matter. But that organization, I'm not listening. Because y'all didn't produce nothing. Y'all talk about Dr. Umar Johnson. Let's look at them. Let's look at them.
So I got two things. Mm-hmm. Right now, he can't be mentioned on this podcast. I'm not letting him slide because he's in some bullshit right now.
Yeah.
Same thing with me. I'm with the concept of Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. I didn't like what I saw from when they released the reports about the money being spent on mansions and so forth, and the audits, and that's where I was like, here we go. We got behind a beautiful idea, and somehow it got spent this way. And I know people are trying to clean it up and say, the money was spent correctly. From what we looked at, no, it wasn't. Not that kind of, what was it, $70 million? That's on account. Yeah. And let me refrain because I don't have the numbers right here and somebody's going to call me out, but I'm with you on that. So, go ahead.
And then another thing about this, and then what I picked up from Dave Anderson. So I'm trying to understand, if you look at, and I'm not all over the place, I'm bringing it back to it, but this dude, John Schwartz, he's getting money. He's getting all this money. I want to know what he's done for people of color.
Did you look him up?
Yeah,
I haven't.
I looked him up. Nothing.
Okay.
He's done nothing. Nothing but collected money. That's all he's been doing. So I just want to make sure, and I don't condone violence, but since we all want to be out here getting a pass and checking in, maybe we should make Mr. Schwartz check in. Mm-hmm. maybe, just maybe, you might want to give his address and get on the record and talk crazy and disrespect him and throw him under the bus. That's maybe what you want to do. It's time to start, like as Dave Anderson said, it's time to start gatekeeping. Oh, you want to be part of the DEI and all that? Yo, you got a week. You better start showing me a plan. And if you don't, you better start hiding. Because I'm telling you, we ain't donating no money to you, man. You gotta give up something, or he needs to get audited. Mm-hmm. What are you doing with the money? All this money, everything that goes everywhere.
And this is why I said you can't mention Dr. Umar around
me. I know.
Because he got a whole lot more money.
I feel you, but my point is that it's the same thing with the National Action Network. Al Sharpton, what has he done? What has he done? He gets on TV all day and talks about the injustices in America. That's great, and I hear you. But you walking in these stores, man, talking about DEI and they need to bring it back when the statistics show it don't even help us. So I don't understand. Sometimes there's a part of me that gets what people say, well, damn, maybe we need to go back before civil rights was better. At least we were sticking together and supporting businesses. I do get it sometimes. I don't. I get what you're saying. That's
why I disagree with you.
Let me finish my point.
Go ahead.
My point is that I get where they're coming from. Not saying I agree with it. But the point I'm making is we've been unifying and been doing this. Why would you listen to these cats that say, yo, let's protest and doing this? What are you going to do? You got more money than me. You got millions of dollars. You mean tell me what schools you've been producing, brother? What businesses have you produced? I need to see it. Because if let's just hypothetically say Al Sharpton is a millionaire, isn't he? He's somewhere in six figures.
It says net worth 500,000.
Okay, well that's good enough. Whatever. Point I'm making is like, what is he doing? I want to know what he's doing. Yo. It's so crazy if you dig deeper, right? I'm not gonna get into the whole thing. I'm not pivoting from the Dave Anderson thing with Mr. Schwartz because he's not a very nice guy. That's the words I'm gonna use right now. You think about when Harris and they had to raise whatever money they had to raise for Oprah and them getting behind her. Why would you have to raise that money?
For who?
For Harris, for Oprah. Kamala, no, for Harris and Roland Martin and all of them. Roland Martin and all of them got
to put the context down first.
That's all goes into what we're talking about right now. Roland Martin and them all get up on there that stage on TV. Oh, this is what's wrong. Oh, we need to stick together. Well, why don't you do it? Why haven't you created a network, man? What network are you creating? You just get on TV all day crying.
No, you said Roland Martin?
Yes.
He has his own independent show.
Dog. He talks, yeah, but he had to get paid. He had to get a check cut to him to back Harris. You know that, right?
To back Harris.
Kamala.
Yeah.
He got to check. So why'd you have to do that?
I disagree with that. I'm not saying he don't have his own. He's about the only independent black media out there.
Doing what? Interviewing who?
Producing a show for political commentary. Who else is doing it?
We do it. We do political commentary.
Yeah, I'm talking about producing at the level that he's doing.
I'm saying like. What I'm saying is DEI and networks, and there's a problem like with you alluded to it in our previous podcast with Joy Reid.
Yeah,
you said why Joy Reid bugging?
That I agree with.
There and go run Roland Martin.
I agree with that.
Why are we begging to be there where they don't want us? We can go right over here and stick together. Since y'all so pro, I think that's the point I'm making. Why don't he go and hire Joy Reid and they work together? You'll get plenty of people.
I can't disagree with that point.
If we can raise money to pay Oprah to
That's why I wanted you to bring the point
Kamala
home.
Harris, then we can raise money for that and get behind it.
Thank you.
That's what
I
we
was
can
trying
do.
to pull that
That's
out of
the
you
point
because I didn't know
making.
where you was going with that point.
That's the point I was making. Yes.
So, because people gonna watch this on the playback.
Yeah.
I was trying to pull that out of him because I was like, why is he bringing up them raising money? She needed the money raised because when they threw her in I think she had 6 months to campaign.
Yeah, which was crazy.
There was nothing wrong with them raising money. The point I wanted you to make is the point you just made. If we can do that to raise money for a political candidate, then we should be able to do that to raise money for our businesses and our institutions.
Yep.
So that's a better point.
Yeah.
I'm glad you pulled that out.
Yep. Instead of giving it to Mr. Schwartz, because I don't know what he's doing. Maybe the Black Lives Matter Foundation can figure something else out. Maybe they can cut a check to it. Because basically what Dave Anderson is implying, start looking behind the doors. What did the guy say? You ever watch The Wire?
Yeah.
Remember what the dude said? I forgot his name. It's the detective. It was the old head. He said, always follow the money.
Oh,
That'll answer everything you need to know. So if you start following the money trail, you'll start to see. Oprah's a billionaire. I'm trying to understand how we don't have our network with people that look
not
like
just
us.
Oprah, Robert Smith.
Yeah.
Jordan. Now,
Yeah.
Jordan, to his credit, he just he just built 2 hospitals in North Carolina. I'm not saying Oprah hasn't or other people haven't, but at least I'm starting to see him build hospitals from North Carolina in his community.
Right.
That's an institution.
Right.
Would I like to see more from our billionaire class? Yes, but what have I said 2 years ago on this podcast?
Mm-hmm.
I coined it, not I coined it, but I repeated this term over and over. Black capitalist. A capitalist is a capitalist, and it doesn't have a race attached to it. A billionaire is going to be a billionaire is going to be a billionaire. They're going to think about themselves, no matter if they're white, black, Chinese, or whatever ethnicity. So I would like our billionaire class to do more for its people, but they're still billionaires at the end of the day. They're still going to act like billionaires, unfortunately, and we don't have a lot of them. I think there might be more billionaires on the continent of Africa than we have over here. Like, we can name our billionaires. There's multiple billionaires on the continent of Africa. So when you're saying, where's the schools? Well, unless one of our millionaires or billionaire class building, we're not going to see it.
HBCUs is falling apart, and you got cats out here, running around here. It's pathetic, man. I don't, let me not get into it. Let me just say this. Salute to Dave Anderson. He's making great points. And the people that are complaining and calling people out and all this whole DEI and affirmative action and all that, I could care less, because at the end of the day, it didn't help us. It did not. We can. It's just like when I talk about the HBCU. Remember when I kept talking about? I said, how all those years Deion blew it up, and we're gonna revisit that back when football season comes around. How all these years HBCUs, not one of them ever been in a Division I program. Do you look at what the SEC does? Give a good point. You know what the SEC does? You see how they put all their money into the athletics? Do you see the difference between them and, say, the ACC, the Big 12? The point I'm making, let me circle all and pull it down one time. If we did that with HBCUs and the athletes and the players and everything, maybe Norfolk State would be at a number 5 seed. Maybe they'd be dominating and kicking butt. But for some reason,
you saw the player just left. He transferred. Brian Moore.
The dude I took the picture with?
Yeah.
Wow. So, point I'm making
is... Because he said it. The coach said it. He said, we can get the players, we can't keep them.
Yeah. There ain't going to be nobody to do it. They'll come to the school and perform a show, but they ain't gonna put no money up. It's like Eric Thomas said, Rick Ross will come there into town, but he ain't going to be at the school the next day. He ain't going to cut no check. He ain't going to give a portion of his money. No, he's not going to do that. So I think the main point of what I'm saying is that it goes back to what you've been saying from day one. We need to start gatekeeping. You got to start with Mr. Schwartz. I guarantee anybody that sees this, if you take this clip and break it down, they're not going to go and check this dude. This dude's not going to get checked. Somehow he's going to get another foundation. He's going to raise money. And some of our, and please God forgive me, some of our stupid asses is going to sit up there and donate money to a cause from somebody that don't look like us, that ain't did nothing for people of color, period. And then we're going to be like, oh yeah, we need to get behind that catchphrase. No. Audit his ass. Go, you need to call his ass out. What have you been doing? What did you do with all that money? I want to know. It needs to be called out. What you did with all that money, man?
I agree. Same reason why I said same thing with your boy Dr. Umar. You ain't slithering out of this neither. The clock been ticking on your ass. And I'm not afraid to say, you can call people, I forgot what he said, a YouTubian and all that other goofy shit he came out with. Broke YouTubers. Well, you've been sitting on over $1 million and you're still collecting money. You're still being flown out for speaking engagements. And we still got a fresh coat of paint on the wall, and that's it. So whenever they audit you, I don't want to hear the people who's trying to take me down. Whatever.
No, but they don't try to take you down. They just put you right where they know you're going to mess up. It's like some of the kids in hip hop. Goes back to what we was talking about. You took these 18-year-old kids that had nothing and was starving, You gave them millions of dollars or $1 million budget. What you thought they was going to do with it? You knew they was going to jack it up. So you on their masters, they're in the red to you, and you know they can't produce, and they had no mind state. Same thing. Same thing.
So I got one more political topic to talk about before we go into sports and wrap this up. I've been watching. You good?
Yeah. I'm just looking.
We recently been watching, all of us. No matter if you don't like politics and you didn't vote, there's no way you miss what's been going on with the tariffs surrounding Donald Trump and the trade war between the U.S. and China. Now, for context, you can correct me if I'm wrong. He just paused the tariffs, Ty?
90 days on the retaliatory tariffs, but everybody still got 10%.
Put a 90-day pause on the tariffs. So I'll just break this down in layman terms. Except China.
Yeah, they want to smoke too.
For people that think that we have a lot of stuff that we build here, we don't. Because even when we build it here, the parts come from somewhere else.
Yep.
This MacBook, even if we manufacture the outside, like the chips and everything, come from somewhere else. Our car parts come from Canada and Mexico. We import a lot of shit. So when we're seeing these tariffs, they're going to hurt small businesses. Small businesses employ a lot of American people. Unfortunately, a lot of these motherfuckers voted for this. Unfortunately, last year, and I send you TikToks about like Aiden Ross, who's a big YouTuber. He was up there doing the Donald Trump shuffle before the election. And then now they got him on video saying, I lost $7 million. Same thing with David Pot. I can't pronounce his last name, but say his name?
Portnoy.
David Portnoy.
Yeah.
He was the same thing. I would never vote for Kamala. Okay, fine. He's sitting up here saying, I just lost $10 million and I'm sticking with it. I never saw a group of millionaires be so happy to lose millions of dollars. Not 1 million. One guy saying he lost 5 million. Another guy saying he lost 15 million. So how much money do you think all these millionaires are losing when this happened? Because they can't be the only two.
Yeah.
So for the context I laid down, especially with smaller businesses being hurt, what are your thoughts on this?
I just think it's you reap what you sow. I think, I mean, let me ask you this. Let me play devil's advocate. Because what they're saying is just wait it out, it's going to get better. You'll see the benefit of this on the back end. How do you feel about that?
That's a serious question.
Yeah.
So I'm not a millionaire, so I'm not going to see nothing on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem saying I'm a regular 9-to-5er.
Right.
I depend on whether we making business moves or we have a 9-to-5.
Right.
So for all of us who don't make over $500,000, we're going to be crippled if this does not work out. There is no backup plan. At least they're not telling us the backup plan.
Right.
How long could we wait if we go? Let me put it like this and get straight to the point. We're older. We're older millennials. We lived through the 2008 recession. Do you remember that time? Because I sure do.
Yeah.
Real quick, I was just graduating college.
Was crazy.
Yeah, I just got my first car in 2007. Gas was damn near $4 a gallon back then. People flipping out now, but back in 2007, 18 years ago, gas jumped up to damn near $4 a gallon. And at one point went over to $4 a gallon. I hit the job market after graduating. Couldn't find a job in my field for 2.5 years. I thought I was going to be a permanent security guard. I was making good money.
Right.
But nobody was hiring. Everybody. I was watching people on TV who had executive positions saying, I got laid off. I've been laid off for 6 months. So they were literally making videos of them begging for jobs at Walmart on the street. I don't think people remember how bad it was. And I'm talking about it was every American.
Yeah.
So how much do we have to suffer to see something on the back end? Are y'all really ready to go back to that? Because a lot of these new millionaires wasn't millionaires back in 07, 08, and 09. So that's just my first part. You got something to add before I keep rambling?
No. Go ahead. I'm hearing you.
So that's on the first part. The second part that they're trying to sell us on that makes no economic sense is on the back end, we might see some factories. Not going to happen. We don't have enough time in this podcast to talk about that.
Right.
Economic experts that's way smarter than me have already went through this. There is no way in the next 5 to 10 years that we're going to see mass amounts of factories popping up that's going to give us jobs and pay us a livable wage.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we got away from having factories here and exporting. So to directly answer your question, I see us, the middle class and the lower middle class and the quote unquote poor, being affected by this the most. I don't see how in a year to 2 years that we're going to benefit from this.
Mm-hmm.
I see people right now saying that they don't know if they're going to be able to keep their small business open in 6 months. And by small business, I don't mean independent business. Small business is any business, I think, that has under 200 people.
Right.
You could be $1 million company and be a small business.
Mm-hmm.
So in 6 months, if this keeps continuing with market manipulation and so forth, we're going to see mass unemployment. This shit is going to hurt. So
yeah,
that's where I'm coming at it. What about you?
I just think, it's the people that voted are gonna see that voted for that are gonna see the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though and trust me, I'm not a big Harris fan either, but I knew it was on the other side, and I wasn't with that at all. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we'll see. I hope it works. Whatever y'all think is gonna work, because if it don't, we in trouble.
All of us.
Yeah.
I will say I am a Harris fan,
and trust me, all y'all that voted for Trump and think that he's right, and if it don't come out right, y'all gonna feel it worse than anybody. That's just all I can say. I just, whatever, man. Just it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
I will say this: I am a Harris fan. I have no problem saying I voted for her.
No, I did too. I'm not a complete fan. Just what the Democrats did, but that's another story for another day. Yeah.
The point I was going with that I was about to say, I know for a fact I can defiantly say she wouldn't have did this. You want to know why she wouldn't have did this? Because if she or any other minority, whether it would be AOC or whoever you want to name, would get in a position of power in the executive position as a president and turn the economy upside down in 60 days, what do you think they would do to them?
Oh, massive. Impeach them, all types of stuff.
They would not make it to the midterms.
Facts.
If AOC was president, hypothetically, and people looked in their 401ks for decisions she made and lost $40,000 overnight because of market manipulation, there would be a campaign on Fox News every day to get that person up out of there.
Yep.
It'd be nonstop. And I hate to even go here. Even worse, they would probably get violent. They would probably send somebody after them.
Yeah.
If it would be Obama that would have did this, they would have probably tried to assassinate him. Mm-hmm. People don't want to admit this, but going back to something we talked about months ago, unfortunately, when you pit people back against the wall financially and people start losing jobs and they feel hopeless and they start looking in their 401ks and their 401ks is depleted, this unfortunately gives rise to what happened with that person, Luigi. If you remember the Luigi incident where he took out the healthcare CEO.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, that's not the right way. Well, what you think is going to happen in another 6 months if small businesses start closing?
Yeah.
And again, Enveonline isn't promoting violence. I'm not saying we should see more Luigis. I'm saying y'all going to pit a lot of American citizens back against the wall. And what do you think they're going to do when they lose their job and they're unemployed for a year? You think they're going to say, oh, we just got to hold on for Daddy Trump? We got to hold on another 6 months? Because right now, I'm not understanding. Maybe somebody can break it down to me like a Tyler, but I'm not understanding what he's trying to do with China, because China's dragging their nuts on the table right now.
Oh, they don't care.
China's metaphorically dragging their nuts on the table, say, all right, well, whatever you want to do, we want to do it too. It's like what 50 Cent said. There's a viral clip. He said, I never want a problem, but when they say it's a problem, no problem.
Give you exactly what you're looking for.
That's China right now. China's 50 Cent.
Yeah.
We don't want no problem. But since y'all said y'all want a problem with us, no problem.
Yeah. Yep.
So hopefully this turns around. If not, I hope his constituents hold him accountable. That's the best I can say.
Yeah.
Got anything else more you want to add?
No, not on that. I don't.
So let's wrap this up. We got a few more minutes. We got to talk about some sports because we didn't talk about sports last time.
No.
So let's talk about. You want to go to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah. Do you want to lead that off, or you want?
So we'll keep it brief because we're gonna have to do another podcast and fully talk about our takes on the tournament.
Yeah.
So we all saw Gino Auriemma won.
Yeah.
Salute to that great team.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of spanked Dawn Staley in South Carolina.
Yeah,
that wasn't a loss. That was an ass. Yeah. Belt to ass.
Yeah.
What's your overall thoughts on the game?
I think a lot of people shouldn't be shocked because if you're
he always picked good teams together.
Well, no. If you're a fan of women's basketball, they pounded South Carolina out this season in regular season.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a shock when they went after them this year. See, they already knew going into it. They knew what they were capable of doing in South Carolina. South Carolina did not scare them. So I think this was just a year of FUD and Beckers, but also I think Sarah Strong. I mean, my God.
She put her name on the map.
She's a freshman doing that.
Well, she had like 17 rebounds.
Yes. 21 points. We saw it up close in that bracket when we went to the UConn bracket. But, she's my God, she's doing that as a freshman. Just imagine what's going to happen when she comes out of the draft, dog. When she comes into the draft and comes out of college. That's just on a low level. You are never supposed to be that nice in a freshman. Like, you're supposed to be making an impact, but she was a difference maker. There's nothing you could do. And you know what's scary? If I'm not mistaken, from one of my sources who I won't give now, they got a kid coming right behind her that was one of the top recruits in the nation. So UConn's not going nowhere.
And then AZ Fudd is staying another year.
Yeah.
Not hitting the transfer portal.
That's scary.
And you saw how comfortable she looked out there.
Very scary.
After recovering from those knee injuries. So Gino Auriemma has another trick up his sleeve.
Yeah. Yes,
so
she does, sir.
They're going to run it back next year. What are your thoughts?
Go ahead. I just want to say that, definitely, I think, and shouts out to Dawn Staley, because I think she did the most. Remember, they lost Cardoza. That was a big loss.
Not just Cardoza, the other one.
Yeah.
I forget her name. She went out to injury.
Yeah, but no, she was there, but she'll be back next year.
No, I'm saying they didn't have her this year because of injury.
Right. So she was out, but shouts out to them for getting as far as they did get. They weren't even supposed to make it back, and they made it all the way back. But I think they just ran into a buzzsaw named UConn, and UConn was already steaming because they felt like they should have been in that finals when Caitlin Clark beat them. They was upset about that. And that was off a bad call. Because everybody wanted to see Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to get into that conversation. But long story short, it's a salute to them. After everything Paige I went through, tearing her knee, she tore her legs twice. FUD, she had blew her ACL out.
Twice or once.
Once, yeah. So they have all been through it. So salute to what they had to overcome to get to that point. I don't think people understand.
The only thing that I'm sad is a lot of the players we thought going into the WNBA draft is staying an extra year. So we won't get to see them at the big leagues, but they about to get busy next year. Olivia Miles transferred to TCU, and a few other players. So it's going to be good for the NCAA. Got to wait another year. Yeah. Got another sports topic you want to talk about?
I just wanted to shout out, too, because we went through there's a lot of storylines, and like you said, we'll revisit it. I wanted to shout out some of the teams like Norfolk State, who
shout out to head coach Robert Jones.
We're gonna address this next podcast, but there was no way in hell they should have been a number 16 seed against Florida. That was bull what the NCAA did to them. That was their second time returning straight year coming out of the MEAC, and you put them as a number 16 seed. Everybody knows they had no business being number 16. You did that because you just threw them away like trash. Let's just call it what it is.
Greatly.
And they stayed and salute to them. They didn't complain. They said because us as black people, we always say it ain't about where we at. We'll figure it out. But the NCAA was wrong for that. Nobody's gonna say, but they were 1,000% wrong for that. They had no business being in that bracket, being as a number 16 seed. But shout out to Norfolk State men's. Also, shout out to I want to say Norfolk State women because they made it too.
Yeah.
And the coach got a job. He I think I don't think he's no longer there. I think he just got a job. But shout outs to them. Shout out to Vermont women's basketball coach Elisa Kresge, who she didn't win. She went to the Final Four to WNIT last year. Came back this year. And her and Anna Olsen and company, and they made it back to the NCAA tournament. Shouts out to them. And there's one more. Also, shouts out to the Bryant American East champions for winning their title. And shouts out to Maine, the Maine's men's basketball team, who we'll talk about that in our podcast for everything they got through to get to the championship game in American East. Because for years that program had been not good at all. Mm-hmm. And to see where that coach got them to where they got them. So just a few shout outs to teams and stories, because what a lot of people don't understand in that tournament, you see the tournament, but you don't get a chance to see all the stories behind the schools of the tournament that made the tournament. So we got a few stories we had to tell from our bracket that we went into, and we'll do that next podcast, but I just wanted to send a few shout outs to that.
Definitely.
Go ahead. Did you have something else you wanted to say?
Mm-mm.
I wanted to say one more thing too, and we'll address this because I think we're running out of time here. So by the time you release this, it's already been out. But the Phoenix Sun lost, and they went on a big losing streak. They're now, I think, eliminated from playoff contention. So the great Kevin Durant, and you can look back in previous podcasts because I'm not.
You've been calling out for 2 years.
I've been calling it. I keep telling you this dude is not. He's a great basketball player, maybe just good basketball. He maybe not as great as you think he is, because everywhere he goes, the team flops. So now let me get this straight. They gutted their whole future. This is the Deshaun Jones blueprint. They gutted their whole future for some players to say we're gonna just go all out. You just was in the finals 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. What do you mean you had to gut it out? You ain't have to gut it out. You just thought you was going to have a moment. And what that tells me is, and a short version is, 1, they're not going. 2, they're going to have to gut the team again and rebuild from scratch. And 3, you know what that tells me? Maybe Golden State was greater than we thought they were.
Oh, yeah.
Because it showed, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't he go to Brooklyn? How'd that work out? They had to blow up the team and they're rebuilding. Now, look. You went to Phoenix, they took your ass in and did what you asked, and now they got to blow up that team because of you. So everywhere you go, you blow up a team. Everywhere you go. But he's the great Kevin Durant. Just want to say that. That's all I want to say.
We're going to talk about that. Bradley Beal, no trade calls, but
I don't want to hear about Bill because they all knew what they were getting with Bill. They just did that because they thought they was going to get away with it, and they ran with it. Blah, 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 blah. The super team era is over. Me and Deshaun Jones have talked about this for the past 2 years, and y'all morons don't get it. I keep telling you, we can be GMs. You don't need a degree for that. Do you see the bonehead moves they making? I mean, from NFL to MLB to NBA, and the dude for good luck with that. Who the hell is going to... And I hear now... I just want to say this real quick. So now they're talking about, well, the Knicks might be interested. Really? So now you want to, I don't, if I'm somebody in Dolan's ear, I'm like, don't do it. Everywhere this guy goes, is something bad happens. Now, mind you, let me tell you on the back end about that real quick. 30 seconds. Thibodeau's running those kids into the ground. You notice how the injuries starting to pile up now?
Right before the playoffs.
If you bring his crybaby and ass in there, he's going to put in a virus in the locker room. Thibodeau's going to be weighing his way out the door, and now you stuck with this clown acting up again. He'd already messed one city in New York up, and that's called Brooklyn. Don't bring him uptown to Harlem and do that too. Just don't do it. Don't do it, man. I don't care. Don't do it. Please, God, Jesus, don't.
So we're running out of time here, and we got a lot more sports the next time we do a podcast, so stay tuned because we're going to yap central on that one. But we're going to wrap this up and catch you guys on the rebound. Got some dope content for y'all. Got little Pillmatic interviews coming with Gully TV and PA Dre. I got some other interviews set up that I'm not going to talk about till they come to fruition. But stay in tune. Stay in tune with Enveonline, where we love to talk about music. Again, which seems like a crazy concept for podcasts because a lot of hip-hop podcasts are doing everything but talk about music. So if you want to talk about music, come over here. If you want to get indicted by the feds, you know a podcast to find.
Oh, God.
Shout out to all y'all that's going to watch this on the playback. You rocking with your host, Deshaun, a.k.a. Son of a Jones.
Azar Johnson.
God bless.
One.